Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Got it? We are live. We are
Yeah.
live, and I'm just letting my Facebook load, and that's my favorite line. Let my Facebook load. Let it not echo. Let me just shut that down. And I keep telling people that even if you're live, this is going to be a film itself. Got it? We are live. See, that's how my beginning happens to all the interview because I've not been able to figure out the tech part of just keeping the Facebook automatically shut when it loads.
There's only that much all of us can figure out. You're doing more than enough without figuring out Facebook.
Thank you so much. I trust me, trust me. Anyway, good evening. We have a beautiful friend here, Smriti. She's a very, very inspiring mom. I totally love what she does. But before, I just wanted to introduce you before I said this because Smriti, when I started, I was with one of the moms here, Melanie, who was doing a meditation session for the first time,
Mhm.
and at that time, I was telling Melanie, I don't know how to go off Zoom and we are live. And suddenly Zoom vanished from my screen and she was laughing and she's like, you're still live. And I'm like, all right, I'm switching off Facebook and maybe I don't go live. And she's like, you're still live. I went off Facebook, I went everything. I said, fine, I have to switch off my computer. The minute I switched off my computer is when the end meeting button came. Meanwhile, for 10 minutes, my friends, Melanie, everybody were laughing. From there to coming here and doing successful 54 interviews, it's already quite a technical journey I've taken. So thank you for forgiving the first line of Facebook part.
I think that
Everyone,
is part of the entertainment.
oh yes, oh totally. I'm going to make a film on this because I have a lot of life proof of what this journey has been and what it will be in the future till I actually become an expert. Good evening, everyone, and I know some people from our international audience will join in at this time. So welcome, and we have Smriti here. Just a very, very interesting story. Smriti, go ahead and introduce yourself because the person who lives the story tells the story the best. So I will not read any biodata. I will not talk about what you've done. You will talk about it. So let's talk about your journey till here. Just as Smriti, what's been the journey?
Well, I have been a journalist for close to 20 years, journalist, editor, writer. And well, 20 years is wrong. I'd say I did that for about 15 years. And around the time I had my son, I'd say 16 years ago, I made more of a shift away from television news and live news. About 5 years ago, I realized that the conversation for me had shifted from news. I had got more involved um, in the back end, in the stories, in the copy. I was more interested in the language. So then I went and got myself certified. I took a CELTA certification and to teach English as a foreign language. And for about 2 years, I ran an American franchise after school program teaching English and maths to kids between the ages of 4 and 14. And I really thoroughly enjoyed that. Um, I've always been deeply interested in early childhood learning. Um, I've been very interested in alternative and progressive methods of learning. And I think I got the opportunity to know it closer the moment I became a mom. And I realized that mainstream schooling and mainstream forms of teaching children anything tend to be very brutal. You know,
Right,
the old school of throw a kid into a swimming pool and he'll learn to swim.
right, right.
Um, yes, he will learn to swim, but you're probably traumatizing him for life with that experience, you know. So I feel that led me on my path. And about 2 years ago, I realized that my kids were spending more time studying, and this was with me encouraging them not to study. So I can't even begin to imagine how much more they'd have studied if I'd been the sort of parent who wanted them to study. So I'd find, on a beautiful rainy day, my son is sitting at his books instead of playing football outside. So one day I just decided that that was it. We're moving out of the city because the city has a lot of noise, physical noise and social, people coming and going and doorbells ringing and so much happening that you're constantly drawn and distracted away from the core stuff, from what really matters to you. I grew up in the hills myself. I'm a plantation kid, so I knew what it was like to be the only family for 40 kilometers, other than elephants and deer and it was so quiet that you could hear the birds chirp, which is a bit of a cliche. You could also hear yourself think, which again sounds like a cliche, but is true. I mean, you never hear yourself think in the city. So
Absolutely.
I just took a call and I said, we're moving out of the city. And I found a school in the hills for my children. It was in a 100-acre forest, and I moved them there. This was about 6 months before the pandemic hit. And then the pandemic did hit, and obviously, we all brought our kids back home. I had actually taken a cottage somewhere close to the school because I felt this was a huge change for my city bred children to suddenly have to accept living in the middle of a forest in Tamil Nadu, not speaking the language, missing just the sound of traffic that they'd grown up with. So just before the pandemic hit, I told my husband, I said, I know this is going to be serious with long lasting repercussions. So I think we should bring the kids out of hostel and settle down here, which is what we did in a furnished apartment. And the pandemic hit, we went into lockdown. And then, about a month or two into lockdown, when they started unlocking, so to speak, we realized that we didn't want to go back to the city. Even my husband and I didn't want to go back to the city. Um, but also, that furnished apartment was somebody else's. It didn't feel like home. So, I got some bits of fabric and I went out hunting for somebody to stitch some cushion covers so that the apartment had a more cozy home-like feeling. And I came across a self-help group that had been hit badly by the pandemic. They used to supply internationally and export toys, stuffed toys, and their orders had been cancelled. The buyers had all literally just shut down their WhatsApp conversations with them and just refused to engage any further. And these ladies just asked me. It was just a conversation. I don't know why they thought of having that conversation with me, but when life is meant to go a certain way, it just goes that way. And they just started talking to me and said, "Could you help us?" And I was also stuck in the pandemic without any work.
Excuse me.
Have some water.
Sorry, I've just recovered.
You okay? You want to take a bit of a break?
No, it's the AC. It's too hot. I started the AC and it triggered. I've just recovered from cold. I'll switch it off. It's okay. Sorry. That's okay. This is all live. So live is good. This is real.
It's authentic.
Yes, yes, yes. So I'm just gonna put it on mute. Even if I cough, I'm just. It's gonna take me 2 minutes to come back, but we won't stop. Carry on.
Um, okay, I don't like the idea of carrying on while you're not feeling too good, but
No,
anyway.
I'm absolutely okay. It's
Okay,
just the AC. I'll
okay,
get
okay.
it in 2 minutes. But the live has to go on because people are going to see the replay. So that's okay.
Okay. So since the show must go on, so anyhow, these ladies said they know how to make some stuffed toys, and I thought to myself, I don't have time to be reskilling them. I mean, they need the money right now. I don't have the time to spend the next 6 months training them and start. This is not the launch of a business. This is saving something that is in a bad way. So we started with small little things. It was a pandemic, so I just gave them masks, and I was wondering what we could do with the stuffed toys. I knew I could go online and ask, sell them on Facebook or something. But beyond a point, how many teddy bears and bunny rabbits could I have sold? And then it struck me that, I'd always loved the concept of a rag doll. I'd had rag dolls as a child, and I never, and, by the time my own kids came along, there were no rag dolls to be had in the market for, love or money. You couldn't find a rag doll. So I said, let me try making a rag doll. And even as so this was all on the go. I thought, let me start with a rag doll, and then I asked myself, how many rag dolls will people buy? Is there still a market for a rag doll? I know that there are people going back to the handcrafted, but this was not about appealing to a parent alone. This was like, how do I appeal to a child, and how do I compete with plastic molded toys? And then it struck me that this was my moment. I'm a very vocal feminist. I believe I live my life as a feminist as far as I'm capable of. And I said, let me make feminist icons out of these rag dolls so that there is more to the doll than just, this is not just about jumping in with some sort of savior complex and saving these women. This is about making something great that also interests me. And so that there's a synergy over there, that I do something that interests me, and they continue to use their skills and make money. And so before you knew it, I had my first set of 4 rag dolls ready. Because I have such a keen interest in early childhood education, one of the thoughts I had was that I wanted to create them on the principles of Waldorf education. So I kept the dolls as simple as possible in terms of their features, and there's got to be room for a child to be able to take off their clothes, put them on, take a pen and draw the eyes in, draw the mouth in, scribble, make that doll their own. And also, if as an adult you want to buy it, then because they don't have childish little twinkly eyes and that sort of thing, they make very nice collectibles. So we started with that, and before you knew it, I have a venture that I hadn't planned for, and also an adventure that I hadn't planned for. So that's my story, and it wasn't very short.
No, I admit it was not supposed to be. If it's so short, then I mean, we've not lived. The story has to be long. It has to have its twists. It has to have its ups and downs, and journey. I just letting you know that I've recovered from a cold and cough, and my kids were not well. And I thought like a boss, like, oh my god, now I don't have to sit in this heat. Do things on. I switch on the AC, and that's it. It shows I'm completely not recovered. That's fine. I'm okay. The AC is off.
Moms never get to completely recover. You get back on the road the moment you can sort of get on your
No,
feet.
I'm leading this ahead. I have to keep moving on because it has to reach its point. It's a beautiful project, and it's taking its own shape, and that's why you are here, and because you're giving your precious time to me in this interview, so this has to be completed. But I love the live, and I think you are very worried about lives going not okay. This is how lives go. Things happen, and it becomes a reality show of what's happening. So Shika Khanna is coughing, even if it's the reality thing. But I totally love. Right now, you've said it. When I spoke to you, you've just from starting to beginning, you said, "Okay, this is my very actually it's very short way. The way we spoke was absolutely amazing." So I'm going to now dissect this little by little because your passion as a mom, the things that you've done, the way you've reached here has been so interesting. It's just not something that can be stated in one long 5 minutes thing, because what I love about you is that many people and many mothers aspire to do what you've done. I'm a Delhi girl, and not a girl anymore. But yeah, I'm born and brought up in Delhi. And by the time I left Delhi, I heard the situation of Delhi being so high in pollution. I think world over people heard Delhi became the most toxic place to live in. I had left Delhi by that time, but I kept on hearing many people saying that we want to leave, we don't want to stay here. What is this? What is and of course COVID had not hit, but Delhi was already wearing masks and getting out, right? We'd
Yes.
already started hearing kids wearing masks to school because of the pollution levels so high that it became very toxic. And I think COVID came much later than the masks that were being introduced to school.
So,
But you did take that step. So let's talk about that first step that you took, which most mothers and most people cannot. They will not take it because it's difficult to do. So let's talk about that first.
I have two children. They are 14 and 16. My son is 16. He's called Aviv. My daughter, 14, is Amara. Um, when I had my son 16 years ago, Delhi didn't have this kind of a pollution problem. Honestly, I think about the times we're raising our children in, and I wonder if I had to do this today. The way it's shaped my life, notwithstanding, today in this environment, I don't know if I would have the courage to have a child and raise a child. But 16 years ago, Delhi didn't have this pollution issue. It didn't. The world was a more optimistic place. There was more to look forward to. And I read somewhere that people who plant gardens and have children um, have an inherently optimistic outlook, because that means you see a future. That is why you're planting, that is why you're raising children. And I think I did have a very optimistic future outlook when I had my son. And then he was an absolutely easygoing, adorable baby. And I thought, oh, this is so easy. I could do this all over again. And so I had another one. And my daughter was born asthmatic, with very, very weak lungs. And it was there that I realized um, what really went into parenthood. Because my son was such an easy, healthy baby that it wasn't very much work. But with my daughter, I really needed to. So I tried everything. I took her to every type of doctor. We did all that needed to be done, and it didn't work. She was on steroids all the time. I was rushing her to the emergency so often. it shaped my career because I refused to leave her with somebody else, because I learned to recognize the early signs of an attack coming on. And while you could train a caregiver to give her the medication after an attack, nobody was as sensitive to an attack coming on to her as I was. So that just changed the way I led my life. And I think it gave me um, you know, the person I am today. Yes, we're all defined by motherhood, but I think I became a braver person because it was no longer about myself. It was about being responsible for someone else. And I applied for jobs where I at that point asked for work from home roles, or coming in 3 hours a day things. I took the chance of just asking. I mean, they could have turned me down and said no, and suddenly I found that I was the only person in an office who was working 3 hours from home and 5 hours, I mean 3 hours at office and 5 hours from home. Because and people used to get very irritated with that, except that they had never thought of asking the administration if they could do that. But I had just stepped out and said, may I just do half a day at home? And they said fine. So I think motherhood gave me the courage um, to ask for things that few other people were asked for. um, at some point my husband in fact moved abroad, you know uh, for work, and I went with him, and I realized that I think was the first time I took a huge leap, because I suddenly realized my kids were being raised in a way that I wasn't comfortable with.
Right.
um, there was a lot of chrome and steel and a lot of air conditioning and a lot of being indoors. Again, coming from the plantation background that I do, I found it very difficult to. I didn't think I was doing the right thing by them, by raising them, and almost entirely indoors. So I
Right.
said, I'm moving back to India. And I did. And that didn't really help, because by that time the pollution had hit the NCR really badly. So I moved back to a polluted city. But I still moved back to, to our own food and our own languages and the things that were important to me. I mean, I don't expect them to be important to anyone else. They were important to me. And I didn't see myself transplanting them abroad. I wanted it to be a more organic experience for my kids, that if they drop into a friend's house here, then um, they don't need to call in advance and ask if they can come. They can just drop into people's homes. We had friends and family floating in and out. And so in spite of the pollution, it was more of home. And so I was a single parent at that point. My husband stayed on abroad and I moved back with them. I started my own venture. I started constructing our house, and I did it all with two little children, um, because they were things I wanted to do. And at some point, as I'd mentioned to you, I realized that my daughter's breathing was becoming a real issue. I found that more and more I'd keep her locked in the house with the air purifier on. And every time she'd say, "Can I go play with my friends?" I'd say, "Why don't we call them home? We will bake, and let's put on karaoke and sing, or let's open up craft on the dining table and let's have like a painting session." And I didn't want her to feel that she was being held back or was less because of her lung issue. So, but at some point I realized that, and she's also a very physical child. She was actually a gymnast. She went up to the district levels before we moved her away out of the NCR. And I realized that it was impacting her health. I mean, I was forcing a child and caging her, and we don't want, I was pulling her out of what should have been her natural habitat and keeping her locked in a home. And similarly for my son, I realized it wasn't the pollution in his case; it was a very rigid, regular mainstream schooling system that was keeping him at his table, chained to his table all the time. And so again, I took a very, very um, I took a very hard decision of shutting down my business venture. We had
Courageous
just
step.
finished
Don't
building
say
my
hard.
home. Sorry?
Don't say hard. It's a courageous step that you
I didn't know whether I should be using that word for myself, but
correct.
thank you.
Courageous step. It's absolutely
Um, I shut down my venture. I had just built that home. We had moved into it 5 months. We had barely lived in that home for 5 months after the months put into the construction. And I just said, we're going to try this place in the hills. And to be very honest, my kids were unhappy. They said, you can't just send us off. And I said, I'm not sending you away. I'm trying to show you another life. What I would like to think as a parent is a better life. But it is entirely your call. If you don't like it, we will find we will find another solution. Nothing is going to be forced on you, but come with me, and I will be with you the entire way. And at any point that you tell me, Mama, I'm not comfortable doing this, we will stop right there. It will be a hard stop. There will be no, why don't you try some more kind of thing. You don't like it, that's it, we will not do it. And so, because we were putting them into a hostel, I looked for a cottage here in the hills. My husband was just moving back from the Middle East. And I said, let us try and stay in this cottage for a couple of months. Once the kids settle in, we'll come back to the NCR. But life had its own plans. And, we fell in love with the hills. I didn't want to leave.
Yep.
Well, we actually started work from home before the pandemic because we were living here in the hills and heading out whenever we needed to have meetings and stuff. And now that I look back, I realize that I would never have moved out of the Middle East. However uncomfortable I was, I would have continued to live in an air conditioned building because it would have been just my husband and me, and we wouldn't have that. I wouldn't have had that motivation to to give my kids a better life. You compromise where your own health is concerned. You compromise where yourself is concerned. But in this case, this was something larger than me, and I didn't want to give it second best.
And it's I always say that what mothers or we women can do once we become mothers, we would have not done it otherwise. And you just mentioned that. I always say that in my interviews. A lot of things, a lot of steps that we take because we become mothers, and it's no more us. It's no more just about us. Or but I know when you're talking about your daughter, because we had a big joint family in Delhi, in GK, and I had a sister that I lost. We were a joint family with seven kids in the same family, and I lost the 17-year-old sister of mine to asthma attack.
I'm so
Because
sorry.
um, and she used to sleep with me. I woke up in the next morning and she was no more there, and like lots of stuff happened. Like a morning, in the sense, at middle of the night when I heard sounds, and I was like, she was just sleeping next to me, and so I absolutely know. And I mean, she passed away in 2005 or 2006, I think. And if she would have been in a situation, so I absolutely know she was 17 years old. We've seen her journey of how scary it can be when you have an asthmatic child at home. That what triggers off. And I was absolutely, you took me back 20 years back to that whole experience of it is scary, and you want to be there because like we family members knew like where the trigger is. We could figure it out, but leaving her with somebody else was always very scary. And of course we had a big joint family, so it was easier on the mom. So I can totally understand that for you to be on that TikTok, that when the trigger, and then Delhi becoming so toxic.
Yes.
I think this is the best decision you could take, which still more people, like, in spite of being asthmatic, in spite of being this thing, they can't take. They can't. Like they're stuck there and complaining about it, or keeping the kids inside, or terrified about it. And not to judge, but there are various reasons people just can't, or they don't. So they have their factories there, and
True.
yeah, go ahead.
No, what you said is absolutely right. It is very scary. In fact, the first thing when I said we are moving to the hills, everybody said your daughter's always sick, and there are no hospitals and no medical facilities for at least it's a 3.5 hour drive from here to reach
Yeah.
a big city and a hospital. And it was a chance I had to take because I mean it was a roll of dice. Frankly, I wasn't quite sure. I said, if we move to the hills, I don't think she'll fall ill, so
Yeah.
I'm not going to need the hospital.
And that's
And yeah, so we did, and the first thing we did when we came here and we was to look for a hospital. Uh, we found one tiny little mission hospital with like a couple of nuns, and they had a small little nebulizer, exactly what I keep at home. I mean, what I use as home care for her was the hospital's only facility available for a child who for anybody who had breathing issues. So it was a huge leap of faith to take, and especially to leave her in a hostel, because that was the plan at that time, that she'll be in the hostel, live in the forest, and uh, and that should keep her safe. But when we talk about the crowds in the city, we keep forgetting the fact that we are the crowd in the city. So you can't keep saying, oh, these places like, oh, there's so many cars, oh, it's getting so crowded. I am part of that crowd. The car I drive is part of the traffic on the streets. And you know who exactly are we telling that you need to move out, or cities are getting too crowded? They aren't getting too crowded. That is a passive term to use. We are the crowd, and we are making it crowded. And personally, I feel that a certain lot of us in a certain socioeconomic bracket have already benefited hugely from what cities have to offer in terms of education, in terms of jobs, in terms of exposure. It is time for us to step away, make space. There'll never be an end to our wants and needs and how much we can earn. Um, but we need to give other people a chance, not hog those resources. And by itself, we will disperse and make space for more people to come and reap the benefits that we've already done for a couple of generations.
Yes, and I think more. I think even that step of giving it to somebody else, more than that, the fact that we are alive and our life needs to be respected to its full potential, and taking the necessary steps that's required to, build this life. That's even that as a step is a very essential step. And if most people can only do that, and that's the reason for them to do it, we will make a better society, we will make a better place, because that's the only thing that will extend through us, the understanding of a better life. And I'm assuming your daughter is much better with
Oh yes, she's
yeah,
now almost my height, and she's shot up in the
that's
last 2 years. She's healthy. Her skin glows. Her hair is shiny.
that's true. That's
My son is like towering over me. Of course, this is that growth.
Yeah, they would have done that in Delhi
They would
also.
have done that anyway, but I don't know if they'd have done it in this way. And it's brought a lot of other things. Like in the cities, we lived in fear. I mean, before COVID, we never allowed our kids out because there was traffic on the streets. I mean, most of us live within gated communities, or the driver takes the kids where they have to go, or they go by school buses. There's a very small number of people who actually still allow their kids out alone. Whereas here, because it's a small town, because there are, because I live in a panchayat area. I literally live in a village. My kids walk down and buy, pick up stuff from the grocery store, stuff that we did as children, which was normal to us. If you were told go down and pick up some sugar and come,
Yeah.
you did it. But we're really careful about doing that in a city, letting our kids go outside a gated complex or something like that. And
We did that in Delhi as well as kids. I remember Delhi
yeah,
as kids
absolutely.
we would go out and we would play hide and seek, and
Yeah.
the whole colony was hide and seek. And by the time our kids came in Delhi, my older one was born in Delhi. It was just a place where you're always worried. You're always, the cars had increased, the parkings, everything was full. People were fighting for parking lots. And it did become, I've also moved out now to Pune, and Pune has become, I'm absolutely the outskirts of Pune. And I totally know what it is, because it's totally different from a city life, because we're in a little forest area, and kids are much more like there's no COVID here for them. And I'm totally not in a hill, but yeah, I'm on outskirts, and that itself feels like a breathing space for us, a place where we can hear birds and whatever you were talking about. So I can relate to that as well, totally, with what
You
you're
know,
saying.
uh, the truth is that we all know we are shaped by our experiences and by our environment. And I felt that our kids were being shaped by fear. Don't let anybody into the house while I'm away. Don't let the courier guy in. Don't open the door. Don't breathe outside. Breathe in, put on the air purifier.
Right.
Don't drink water on the streets. Don't eat street food. Everything was a don't. It seemed like we had given birth to them in a world that was constantly in ambush mode.
Yeah.
You can't bring children into the world and then tell them don't experience it.
Right. Right.
And yet that is exactly what we were doing, what I was doing. I only speak for myself. I was doing, you can't go here, you can't go there, you can't do this, you can't do that. And I do this and I was doing this in spite of being a fairly liberal parent. But
Yeah.
even the few things that I wasn't allowing them to do really bothered me. I was like, I'm not letting them live life. And
Yeah, that
they were
comes
being
from
shaped by fear.
you
Sorry.
being a plantation child as well, right? You've already experienced. Now
Yeah,
somebody
yeah,
else,
yeah. So I knew there was another life,
there
and
was a difference. Yeah, you could feel that. But most of us, like who bought in cities, big cities, somebody born in Mumbai or Delhi, that's what they've seen. That's what the next generation is seeing. That's what the next. So it's very common for them to not realize it. That's why it's very hard. I just realized this conversation very important where your childhood is, and then that gives you the courage to know. So for your courageous step comes from being in plantation, to be free, to understand what freedom is. In spite of we roaming around in Delhi, etc. In fact, we compare that to today's Delhi itself is a big difference. I'm sure for somebody like you, it would have been a huge difference to experience that, and I'm very glad that you have brought that to you. You're total inspiration. I
thank you.
know that you have a meeting and we need to wrap up things, but let's talk about your dolls. That's a beautiful, beautiful project. I want to talk a little more about that because that's what you said. That was my very long story. It was actually not, because you have such distinct parts about it that the conversation about it can be done for a good 1 hour easily. So let's like fast forward from there to your dolls and what has been, what do you have you brought? What is the whole idea about it? And I am actually feeling, and I know today somehow audience is not woken up, or generally they come up, but you're going to meet all the mothers. This is going to be a very interesting topic for our international audience as well to hear, because Indian women being recognized like this through a medium like this is just beautiful.
So it's not just Indian women. My first set of dolls had Frida Kahlo
Okay, that,
and Maya Angelou,
yeah,
and the other two were Savitri Bai and Kalpana Chawla. My dolls are right behind me, and I'll show you a couple more. My next range had Sarla Thakral, first woman to fly an aircraft,
right.
Pulan Devi,
Oh,
and of course Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Um, but the one that I'm really proud of is a doll that doesn't have that is not that is inspired by many people who have a disability, but and I have checked apparently that, I mean, you should check. And one of the things that I was told is that it is better to say a person with a disability, because that is what it is for them. It's not a challenge alone. So I created this doll. I'll just put her together for you. Um,
please do.
so this is a doll with a prosthetic leg,
Hmm.
and she's supposed to be a ballerina,
Beautiful.
a teenager, a ballerina with her hair bundled up and, like hair colored like teenagers love to do. I don't know if you can really tell.
I can see, I can
Yeah.
see.
So, I've sort of leapfrogged into towards the end of the story. Basically, when I thought I'd do these dolls, I wanted to keep them simple, but I wanted to make sure they were recognizable. So each doll that had a story. Would you like me to show you one of the other dolls?
Please go ahead. This is so beautiful. That's what I'm trying to show to this thing, that mothers, when they take these leaps and they end up still shining with so many changes. So please talk about that. This is a very beautiful project.
So this is my Savitri Bai doll.
Yeah. And I came to know about Savitribai very recently. My son was doing a unit in school, and for the first time, I actually came to know about Savitribai Phule. Very
Isn't isn't she absolutely inspirational?
amazing. Absolutely.
So so she's got little chappals made out of. So I work with leftover fabric as far as possible. So all the dolls end up with like blouses that are a different color,
Right.
little chappals that are a different color.
Right.
And so yeah, this is one of the first few dolls. Because she's a teacher, she comes with a little book which is attached with Velcro.
Yeah.
This was she's from my first range. One of the other ones from my first range is Maya Angelou. In fact, this was the first doll I did, and I remember my husband asking me, "How many women do you think know Maya Angelou?" And I was like, "Yes, but what if there are um, only four?" He said, "What if there are only four women or something?" And I said, "Yeah, but imagine they waited all their lives to see a Maya Angelou doll, and now it'll happen." So
And not
here's
for,
the Maya Angelou doll.
there's so many of people who know Maya Angelou, and once she passed away, I think suddenly it floated and everybody knew her even more than
Yeah, that is true.
yes.
Um, this is Kalpana Chawla. I knew it was a must to make one. Um, Definitely to do Kalpana Chawla. All the little bits that are knitted are again done by another lady who does crochet. This is not part of the self-help group. This is another lady who does this on the side to earn an income. So not just almost all the women I work with are underprivileged, economically weaker section, and they really enjoyed it, because the moment you start talking to them, some I couldn't explain. I mean, they didn't know who Maya Angelou was, but the moment they found out who she was, they were so thrilled to do this, to make a Maya Angelou doll. And of course, Kalpana Chawla, all of them knew, and there is much excitement at the center when they do Kalpana. They all want to work on this particular doll. So I was making the dolls with a lot of little accessories, and I said to myself, I don't want to use plastic to package it or to have like a box or something. So I must give like a little drawstring bag like you'd get at a shopping. If you go out shopping and you buy a kurta or something, you'll get it in a cloth bag. And then it struck me that if I'm going to do a cloth bag, I may as well do something like this, which is a sleeping bag.
So
for the
cute.
doll. It comes with a little pillow.
You know,
Um, and
amazing.
so this is the doll with the prosthetic is called Natasha. She's an award-winning ballerina, so she has a medal. She has an option in terms of prosthetics. You can change the leg, and all these pieces are put together in the bag, because invariably, and I know this as a parent myself, once kids get involved with playing with a toy, they will not go to bed. So then I figured that this would be an easy way to say, okay, now the doll goes to bed, put her in her sleeping bag, and you also go to bed, and then you can put the doll in bed with your child, and it's one way to wrap up a day that isn't ending. So
Yes.
that is one of the dolls. This one I'm particularly proud of. This is Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and I find her hugely inspirational. So of course she has her trademark glasses, her very popular lace collar. She's got her judge's robes, and she's wearing a nice, very smart suit on the inside. And she had done a cover of a magazine in which she had worn silver shoes. So I just picked those because they were just so cute. So she wears silver shoes.
Really,
Um,
so beautiful. I mean, Melanie is here, lovely is here, fellow audience is coming up slowly waking up. Thanks, Melanie. I was wondering today where the audience went. And we've such a beautiful. Oh, Melanie will also love it. She's a parental expert. I think it's very early still for her, but yeah, they're all up.
and of
Beautiful.
course, because not everyone is expected to know everything about every person. Like you might be interested in knowing more about Ruth Bader Ginsburg, may not know much about her, or you might want to gift her to somebody. So and the entire point was to share the story of these inspirational women. I mean, if we don't teach our children young, then like many of us, they grow to be to their late teens or something before they even are introduced to the idea of feminism. So each of them comes with their life story. It's written as a little letter. So like in this case, RBG has written this letter, and I write dear, and I leave a little space so you can put the child's name, so she has that sense of this letter is written personally to me. And I tie it up like a little with a little bit of a ribbon, so it's almost like an old-fashioned scroll. Your child gets a bare bone, 15, 20 line story that is about the character.
Oh, so
And
every character has the story.
yes, every character comes with their story. So
Okay.
all of these come with
That was my question. That was my question was about to come. Yeah,
that.
Melanie saying sounds amazing. Lovely saying, well said.
And there are other little accessories, like for instance, with RBG, I have a little gavel, and I have a little book that is meant to be the American Constitution.
Right.
So So, and of course, it all goes into a bag, into the sleeping bag, so the sleeping bag itself has another story. After I started working with the first NGO at the self-help group, a couple of others got in touch with me and said, can you work with us? And I said, I'm sorry, you have me confused for someone else. I'm a journalist. I am not a designer. I'm not a crafter. And they said, no, we like your ideas. We like the way you're working with the other group. So could you find something to do with us? So this is another group. It's a self-help group, and they are a Gandhian group. So they work with khadi. So these are the sleeping bags have been made out of khadar. They are from Gandhigram. They have these ladies know how to screen print. And, in each case I had to say, okay, what are your skills? Let me see if I can find something to do with it. So these ladies knew how to screen print and stitch very simple bags. So I said, let's do the sleeping bags. You can print it. Uh, that was upside down, but here's my name, the Smithsonian. And it's done in khadi. It's comes from khadi, Gandhigram. It works to their, these are the skills they have, and this is all I demand of them. And as we get used to it, if we can build on those skills and do more and more, then I'd be really happy. So,
So you've been doing this for a year now?
sorry,
How long have you been doing this for a year
just
now?
about a year, exactly a year this September.
Oh,
Most of it was in the pandemic. So, for at least we'd start work and then we'd get locked down. And this being a hill station, um, it was stricter. The lockdown was stricter than anywhere else, and you needed an e-pass to come in or to go out. But more importantly, you don't get anything here. So the fabric that I work with, the little bits and pieces that I need, zips, buttons, Velcro, things that you take for granted in a big city, you don't get them here. So it's been as an entrepreneur, it's been a very uphill this task, because there is my personal learning curve. I'm learning on the job. I've never worked on Excel. I have no idea how to brand. I didn't know that courier services take your products and run away and never come back. I'm learning how to package. I'm learning how to make sure that the products don't get damaged. But in all of this, I'm struggling to even just get stuff up here, and doing this in the middle of a pandemic with all the restrictions that we're
But at the
dealing
same
with.
time, you delivered many orders as well. That's what I heard.
Yeah, it's been
It's
fun.
only growing. And what I'm going to say, I'm telling you, Melanie is here listening to it. Melanie will know she has totally gone crazy when she does crazy stuff. I think once this book starts to do and starts rolling in and we start getting the money, all the 100 moms are going to get a gift from me of 100 moms done by you from this book.
Oh, that is
Uh,
so sweet.
Developing each mother, because it's giving me goosebumps saying this, but gifting each mom a doll just like this about her, a doll about her for her generations to come would be a nice gift to give with this book.
I think that's a lovely idea.
So be ready. Start seeing all the moms that when the book
I'm
reaches,
girding my
you're
loins.
gonna you're gonna be just like because I keep saying things keep coming up, and I've decided not to take sponsors. I've decided because I said I don't want anybody to interfere, but I'm very confident that we will be able to pull out some money, and this would be a beautiful thing that these mothers are those 100 dolls that you make as a project from this book out, and I
I
can
think
give
it's a great idea.
each mom a doll uh, as an as that award, like that honor that I can give her, apart from giving her that book that I want to give her of being a mom. Um, it just came to me. So I started smiling. I was like, "Don't say it, Chika. Don't say it." I just keep saying crazy things. I was like, "Don't say
No,
it."
no, no. You must always leap before you look. Otherwise, you'll never end up leaping.
I do. This is a result of 100 moms. I'm not even finished 100 interviews. I'm already talking things that are coming in the middle. But
No,
all
no.
this will happen because this project is bringing that thing. This project is, everybody is here coming for a reason. Everybody's happening here. I'm telling you, the integration has started. Mothers have started to meet each other. The group that's come together, 55 moms, already are meeting and reaching out and trying to figure out each other across the world. I was just telling you before I was just telling you before only it was starting that something will come
Mhm.
out of this, and this is what's come out of the interview right now. That at least these 100 moms, I will put all my effort that I can to give you this order of these 100 moms and then $100. So when the book
I look
gets
forward to it.
dispatched, with that this $1 gets dispatched because that's what I want to give each mom, this doll and this book. Oh my God, receiving a doll of your own, uh, you know, this thing from here would be beautiful. So Melanie, if you've heard it, if she's left or she's heard it, or whoever's going to hear later is going to give me a call that you thought totally gone crazy. But this is going to be a beautiful thing. Even if it's not a big one, even if it's a small one, we can create just with the book and can get couriered with the book. So let's work on that, Smriti.
Let's
That
work
would be
on it.
a fun
There's so many, when women come together to work, so many amazing collaborations come out of it. And I have in the last um, maybe 4 months, I would say, uh, been in talks with so many people, um, so many great collaborations, so many people who are just so willing to come forward and do something with you. And I don't want to make this gender specific, but I notice that women do this a lot. Step right up and say, let me do this with you.
That's
Let me
what
tell
you're
you the truth.
attracting. That's what you're attracting. That's what you're attracting through this work as well. And women power is actually, somehow I feel since pandemic, women are rising at another level altogether. A lot of movement that are rising, all are women centric, and they're really doing very well. But just to imagine, okay, I'm a photographer. The doll is having a camera. There's a there are all kinds. There are coaches, there are hypnotherapists, there are dancers, there are comedians coming in, like all sorts of stuff and all sorts of stories. There are moms who've lost children. There are moms like giving that mom a doll with next to the child she lost. This is going to become an emotional, leading their stories, seeing their stories, creating those stories into a doll would be a
That would be
great,
beautiful.
beautiful. And each story coming out, and there's such beautiful stories. I don't know, whenever you get a chance, just keep clicking. And there are some parenting experts like Melody who are going to be, who are talking all about it and creating them. Each one of them is such a shining example. There's going to be a Smriti with a doll created, being a journalist creating a doll creating a doll. So That would be an amazing one as well. So I will gift you a doll created by you with that book.
Of you. Okay.
With one of the happy
Thank you.
moms. So anyway, I think you need to go. I told you things just go amazing and things just keep going ahead. And you're just a very beautiful soul, Smriti. And I'm
Thank
happy
you.
to have you in the book.
It was my pleasure.
Let's talk about that one more book you were part of before we sign off. And I want to sign off by asking your dream as well. But what was the name of the book you'd given me? It's not coming.
It's a book published by Zuban.
Yeah,
It's called Of Mothers and Others. It
yeah,
was a collection, an anthology of stories um, around the topic of motherhood. But it wasn't just mothers, it was the way we mother. It was exactly as you said, a mother who's lost a child, a mother who has miscarried, somebody who's trying, a mother who has not, who has mothered her own mother, a lady who didn't have children but took care of her own mother. Because honestly, what is motherhood? You can be maternal towards anything and anyone. So that was a lovely one. The money, we were launched at the Jaipur Lit Fest
yeah,
by Shabana Azmi. The anthology was put together by Jayashree Mishra. So it was a fabulous experience being part of something
yeah.
so big and something so beautiful.
Well, it's beautiful.
And again, it's interesting that the people who ask me to um, collaborate with them, or in your case, invite me to do something with them, usually ask me to do so because I'm a mother. And I often wonder, like, would any of these opportunities have come my way if I hadn't had these amazing kids? And, I
That
mean,
question is
they by themselves are a reward in themselves. I mean, only this afternoon I was texting my kids because they're in hostel now, and and I was telling them that it has I am rewarded by being your parent, and everything else that comes to my life has come to me because of my kids. And I'm not sure how many of us can say that or feel that way, but I feel very strongly that I am shaped by motherhood, and everything good that has come my way has come because of my kids.
so beautiful. It's so beautiful, Smriti. And I can talk to you more because I have so many questions, but I wouldn't
Go
because
ahead. I can put it off for a bit more. If you have anything else, I'm happy to
no,
answer you right now.
this is just a beginning. I know that you and me can talk. I can talk to many mothers for many hours, but this is just a beginning of us meeting. We're going to meet more moms. We're going to have more opportunities. Let these 100 interviews come together. Let the book get shaped. I know that these 100 moms are. It's already happening. It's already like wake up in the middle of the night, tagged somewhere else, some conversation, something happening. Mothers mingling, speaking to each other. It's a beautiful thing that for the first time I'm seeing that mothers are connecting at the mother level rather than what you've achieved financially or position wise or professionally. Whatever you've achieved as a mother is being recognized, and I'm blessed that this kind of idea is taking shape through me, and I am able to take it at least till 55. We've reached 55. We are walking ahead to 100 very soon.
You'll get there very soon.
I will. And I want to ask you what your dream is because this book is called 100 Self Portrait, 100 Dreams. And I want to know Smriti's dream. What's Smriti's dream?
Oh, Smriti has so many dreams. How will she bring it down to one?
Let's talk about all of them.
I was just telling someone the other day that I am living my dream. I wanted to live in the hills. I wanted to work with craft. Um, I wanted to work with women, and to be honest, when I dreamt these dreams, they all seemed like very disparate things. Like, how will you go live in the hills somewhere and then work with women also and work with crafts also? And how are you going to be a good parent while you're doing all of these things?
Yeah.
And somehow things just fell into place. And the other day somebody said you found your ikigai, and I was like, oh wow, I didn't see it that way. I am at the intersection of everything that I had wanted, and none of this was planned. It just I literally, it fell into my lap. Here I was trying to give my kids a better life, and it was breaking my heart because my life revolves around my kids, in case it's not already very apparent. I was killing me to send my kids to hostel, and there I was trying to follow them and stay in a cottage and pretend that, oh, I'm okay with this, but I wasn't okay with it. And the pandemic gave me another year with them. They are really close to me in the hostel. I can see them sometimes. I'm working with women. I'm living where I want to live, and I'm working with craft. And I mean, the dolls are just one of the many things that I am working with. There are a number of other craft initiatives that I've already. Again, I don't have a social work background, so even though I wanted to do it, I never had the courage to approach people and say, I want to do something with you. But now those people are approaching me and saying, we've seen what you're doing and we would like to do something with you. And for someone like me who has huge imposter syndrome, it was it was very encouraging to see that it wasn't just me wanting to do stuff with them. They truly did believe that I was doing something good, and they were reaching out to me. So very soon I'll get back to you with more stuff that I'm doing. But for now, if you ask me what is Smriti's dream, Smriti is living it.
How beautiful. How beautiful. And imposter syndrome is like I was telling you that I'm a photographer. I don't know what I'm doing here, doing interviews, this tech stuff, trying to get editing book. Though my dad's has a printing background, I did work with him and my sister. All that is okay, but I was always a photographer for 20 years. And what am I doing this? And that's why I'm also, and this when this light goes off, it means we are 45 minutes in an interview. So that's the signal that my battery gives me. But not that I'm going to stop what I was trying to say. um, you know, the whole thing that you're saying now, the imposter syndrome, that I don't know, like, people are going to believe in it. I didn't know when I announced it. I don't know why I announced it. It was all in pandemic for me as well. With a young child who's breastfeeding, sleepless nights, people are looking at me. Are you in your senses? Like, yes, you know a lot of mothers. Yes, you know how to build relationship, all that. But sitting on the screen, you're going to get world mothers together, and we have 55 and almost 25 suggested moms across the world, which are lying down in lists right now. And I'm like, okay, which one, and offline, and I'm trying to figure out. This is going to go to a 500 list, because now the more mothers, the more it's taking wings. The more people, just you said, want to work with you. And honestly, I've dropped my imposter syndrome because I suddenly feel that this is what I was meant to be. This is where I was being led through with whatever I've done. And when I sit down and I'm like, yeah, I did this because of this, I did this because of this, I did this because of this, and now it's coming together. And that's why it's blooming. And I can see that in a short span of not even a year completed, you're already finding people getting attracted to it, people, believing in you. It's all your work which has come till here. Your belief system, your aura, your energy, everything is coming together. So I think we will, the only option left for people like us who are being blessed in pandemic, that we are thinking things are not working, such beautiful things are emerging. We can only call ourselves very blessed. And also being led by I usually don't talk like this, but we are definitely being led into a direction, and all we can do is just keep moving forward. And I keep saying that the clues are going to be dropped. Pick it up and read, pick it up and read. Just don't worry where it's taking us, where the treasure is there a treasure or not. But just now that, and I was, one of the interviews I said earlier, the clue was like one clue 6 months, one next clue. Now the clues are being dropped every single minute, and 15 minutes, 20 minutes, you just have to pick it up. So I'm so glad that you're living your dream, and I will let you go at the moment, but you're part of us now. And I'm really looking forward to even this
Pleasure.
dream of mine coming true, that these 100 moms should get their 100 stories being depicted through your dolls. Wow.
Very excited.
I definitely want to do 100 portraits, but that's way too big. Like, because they're from all across the world, I want to meet each one of them, and I want to do their portraits and give them their portraits. But
Yes,
when
you
the
will.
dolls can reach faster than my portraits can reach, for sure. The dolls can reach faster than my portraits, for sure. So we'll make them creating the life you want to live, Melanie saying. So thank you, Melanie. And Smriti, thank you for coming here.
Thank you for having me.
Add
It's
you to the
been a
group,
wonderful
introduce you
thing.
other women. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So I'm going to go stop live, and we are going off.